It sucks. It's a cool little minigame though, and it's quite useful in order to get gamble. Yeah. Come on, friend, move. He's like nodding at me. Oh, now he leaves. Oh my god. Oh, it's so far. Okay. Whew! Just a second remaining. Bloody hell. I hope you enjoyed your quest. Now then, you paid your respects to a total of 16 statues. You have visited every Kellalon statue in the village. Amazing. I'm sure Kellalon is very delighted indeed. Here's your reward for your efforts. May the blessings of Kellalon be with you. Nice. Oh, we get everything. Ah, very good. There we go, we got Gamble. Now if I go to my spellbook, I believe it's spirit magic, so only Mac can use it. Currently. Gamble. Inflict a random amount of damage on one enemy. An unidentified spell. And another. There's a few unidentified ones. Either way, not bad. Wait, what was this? Said I could examine something. Oh, one of the pictures. Right, my bad. Mysterious perfumes. Yes. I don't even know what mysterious perfumes are used for. Bum 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 bum. Right, I'm trying to remember all of the stories that are here. Come on, my grandpa told you that you're the guy that saved our village long ago. It's not you. Croop. No, you're like just at the entrance of the village. You're leaving already? It's been so long since your last visit. Don't go just yet. Crap. There's like two... I think there's actually 3 stories here, but I don't remember where. He gave this to me as a keepsake. It's really valuable to us, but it's what you use to protect our village, right? So here, Kaim, I want to return it to you. Magic-powered locator level 1. Hey, Kaim, try it out now. I've hidden a treasure somewhere inside the village. See if you can find it. It's hidden somewhere way up high. It's yours if you can find it. A treasure that's really high up lies in Tosca. Using the magic-powered locator, you'll be able to look for treasures hidden all over the world. But to find treasure, you must obtain information on the whereabouts of those treasures. Once you get information on the treasure, it will appear on the treasure screen within the items menu. When you have your magic-powered locator and information, there will be a glowing point on the navigation map when you enter the area in which the treasure is hidden. The treasure is hidden at the glowing point. Search for it in the nearby area. You can increase the output of the magic-powered locator, enabling you to find a lot more treasure than with level 1 locator. No. Wait, so it'll glow when I'm near it. Okay. Isn't there a chest up here, though? Yeah, I think there is. Yeah, there is. Yay! Watch it start glowing now. No, this is not hidden treasure. I got money! 500? Holy crap. Wait. Wait. That looks like something I can dig. Oh, you know, like kick or something. It's not something I can interact with. At all! How lovely. There's a guardian spirit of the village, but I have to be good or else he won't protect me. I've been in my fair share of battles, but one day, just as I was swinging my sword at someone, I suddenly thought, man, I wish I could have been a baker. I have no idea how a thought like that came to me, but after the battle I quit the army. I've made my living baking bread ever since. Okay. Kaim recalls a memory that was locked deep within his heart. Here we go. The dream has been revealed. The hero was home from the war. He had performed gallantly on the battlefield, advanced to the rank of general, and made a triumphal entry into the village of his birth. The villagers welcomed him with a festive celebration. The grown-ups were treated to drinks beginning in the afternoon, and the children received sweet confections. The cattle and sheep in the pastures that supported the villagers' livelihood, whether because they were excited by the unusual commotion or were welcoming the hero in their own way, sent especially shrill cries reverberating into the blue summer sky. This is called the hero. General, you are the pride of our village. Obviously full of pride himself, the head of the village thrust out his chest as he delivered his congratulatory address in the welcoming ceremony. To think that the foremost hero in the army came from this tiny village is so incredibly exhilarating and gratifying. I'm sure our ancestors are overjoyed as well. The throng crammed into the village square burst forth with cheers and applause. According to the official figures released by the army the other day, General, you brought down at least 2,000 enemy soldiers with your own hand. A thunderous roar shook the square. Come to think of it, the population of this village is less than 1,000. This means, sir, that you managed to bury more than 2 of these villages worth on your own. How fortunate for us that you are not one of the enemy. If by any chance there had been a warrior of your caliber on their side, we'd all be resting on the hilltop graveyard by now. A few of the women frowned momentarily at this remark, but the men full of liquor responded with an explosive laugh. Sitting stage center, the general lightly stroked his dignified beard. No one present knew that this was his habit whenever he was perplexed. When he left his village to join the army, he was just an ordinary soldier a long way from growing a beard. General, you truly are the savior of our army and, indeed, of our entire nation. I understand that you will be leaving for another battle tomorrow, but we all hope that you will thoroughly enjoy yourself on this rare visit to your birthplace. The village chief ended his greeting and withdrew to the wings, whereupon the villagers number 1 entertainer bounded to the stage in the most comical way he could manage. Dear General, he cried, running over to where the great man was seated and going down on his knees. Oh, hear my plea. The general looked at him uncertainly. Is there any possibility that you would lend me your sword, the sword at your side, if only for a moment? Perplexed though he was by all this, the general, impelled by the audience's applause and cheers, handed the man his tasseled and jewel-encrusted sword. Oh no, this is gonna end badly. The man bowed deeply as the sword entered his outstretched hand, and again he cried, "My gratitude knows no bounds," pretending to stagger under the weight of the sword. He came to the front edge of the stage and held the weapon aloft. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I will reenact the event that raised our dear general's fame to the heights in a single bound, when he hacked 18 of the enemy into little teeny tiny bits. The audience cheered wildly, and the man, with exaggerated movements and commentary, swung the sword in a great arc. The audience knew exactly what he was doing. The general had not only made a name for himself for his strategic prowess, but was also widely acclaimed as a warrior on the battlefield. He did not rely solely on his weapons, but in the end leveled his opponents with his sheer physical strength. This too was a matter of the utmost pride for the villagers. Here we go. 1 man down, 2 men down, flip the sword back, 3 men down. 4th man slashed diagonally right through the shoulder, 5th man's head goes flying. Oof, there's 3 at once. 6th, 7th, and 8th man. What a bother, I'll just skewer you like this. The man thrust the sword into 3 imaginary opponents, and the crowd went wild. The general too broke into a smile and applauded. When he was through clapping though, he stroked his beard again. I'm sure you can understand how I felt at the time, sitting up there on that stage. The old general says to Kaim before taking a sip of water from his leather pouch. His magnificent beard is completely white, so distant are the past events he is recounting. Kaim nods in silence, and the general continues, as if muffling over every word. The more you know about war, the more you feel that way. I'm sure the villagers meant well, they were just wanted to pay homage to their hometown hero. No, of course, they weren't being the least bit malicious, my village has the nicest people in the world, which is exactly why I found the whole thing so painful. I couldn't stand it after a while. Hacking 18 men to bits. The deeds of a hero are related in numbers. Surely the man who playfully swung the general's sword on stage that day could never have imagined the ones who lost their lives on the battlefield, the agonized expressions on their faces, the curse in their eyes as they stared into nothingness. But that's alright too. People who live peaceful lives don't have to know about such things. That's what people like us are for, to keep their lives far away from the battlefields, don't you agree? Thanks to us and killing our enemies, or our killing of enemies, the people we are supposed to protect don't have to know anything about the bloodlines, bloodiness of war. Unless you believe that, what's the point of people killing each other? Kaim says nothing in reply, without either affirming or negating the old general's words. He stares vaguely at the general's troops. What'd you say your name was? Kaim? I suppose you've killed more enemy soldiers than you can begin to count. There's no way I could count them all. I thought so. You have a flawless build. The kind that can only be tempered on the battlefield. Only a man who has survived one battle after another can carry himself the way you do with complete naturalness. How does a man like you find himself driving a horse cart over a mountain pass? Kaim is ready to leave without answering if the old man asks him such a question. But the general inquires no further into Kaim's background. Instead, there is a sense of relief in the smile he bestows on the sight of Kaim resting his horses at the pass. I was 16 the first time I went into battle. After that, I just kept running from one fight to another until I made it all the way to general. At first, I remembered the faces of the men I crossed swords with and killed. Even if you don't try to remember them, they get carved into your memory. I had terrible nightmares, and try as I might, I could never seem to wash off the stench of the blood that splashed on my face and hands. That was a hallucination, of course, but it got so bad once that I spent a whole night in a river trying to wash myself off. Oh dear. The general pauses for a moment to think about his story, then went on. But after a while you get used to it. You get used to fighting and killing over and over again. Your body and your mind and your heart. You just get used to it. That's how people are, so I stopped having nightmares. I killed all the enemy soldiers I could lay my hands on. And I forgot every one of their faces. It's the same for you now too, Kaim, isn't it? Maybe so. It's like a curse. If you don't get used to it, your heart breaks. On the other hand, if you do get used to it, your heart probably ends up breaking someplace deeper down. The general casts a fond glance towards his resting troops, then slowly shifting his gaze far down to the foot of the mountains. He says, "So, that's what it was like for me back then, when I returned to my birthplace in triumph." For the final event in the welcoming ceremony, several children mounted the stage. And now, in honor of our hero, the children will present to the general a floral wreath, more marvelous than the greatest medal there ever was. The audience went wild again. When the children put the wreath on his neck, the general favoured them with a warm smile, the first honest smile from the heart that he had managed since climbing onto the stage. And finally, as a special treat for the general, who has been galloping from one battlefield to the next far from his native place, the children's chosen representative will read his own original composition spelling out the joys of the peaceful life of the village. With a look of grim intensity, a small boy barely old enough to go to school unfolded it into composition, and gripping it in two hands began to read aloud from it, straining to make himself heard. First, I'm going to write about one of the nicest things that happened to me. At my house, we have a pasture, with lots of cows and sheep. One cow had a baby 2 days ago. I helped my daddy by stroking the cow's back with a handful of straw while she was having the baby. That makes the cow warm up so it's easier for her to give birth. The baby was born just before the sun came up. It was a tiny baby, but it could already stand on its own two legs. A baby! Wow! I'm going to take care of this baby until it gets big. Dear little calf, hurry and grow up, okay? The general had tears in his eyes. Now, I'm going to write about one of the saddest things that happened to me. That was when my grandma got sick and died. She was such a nice grandma. I know her sickness made her feel bad, but she was always smiling when I was around. She let me hold her hand when she died. I watched her face the whole time, because I knew I wouldn't be able to see her anymore, and I want to remember her even after I grow up. She kept smiling and smiling for me, right to the very end. That's why she is always smiling when I think of her. Are you looking down on me from the sky, Grandma? I will never forget you as long as I live. Tears were streaming down the General's face. Okay. When the ceremony ended, the General left his village and headed for the town where army headquarters were located. There, he wrote a long letter to the king and gave his sword to his most trusted lieutenant. The General had decided to retire. This was a big